You are listening to Book Clips, a podcast where authors and narrators expose you to excerpts from different books. You can find the show and more by searching for The Lesbian Talk Show on iTunes, Podbean, or Stitcher.
Hi, Annette Mori here, and I'm going to do a reading from Out of This World. I never understood what Sydney saw in Holly. Sure, her outward appearance was flawless, but she was a soulless she-devil and treated Sydney like shit. Sydney was no more than her loyal and devoted lapdog. As far as I could see, Sydney was not an equal partner, but rather eye candy that Holly loved to show off. Of course, Sydney saw us enter the shop right away and waved us over. I couldn't be rude, so I reluctantly made my way to their table. Celeste followed my lead and stood beside me as I approached my high school crush and the enemy. Hey, Sydney, you remember Celeste, right? Sydney smiled and nodded. Of course, you're the one who wants to learn all about stuff that our resident librarian, an expert on remote and interesting trivia, knows absolutely everything about. You couldn't have found a better person to help you. Mabes is amazing with the amount of knowledge she has in that big brain of hers. I noticed Holly scowling when she said that, but Sydney was too busy motioning toward the empty seats to register her sourpuss expression. However, before glaring at me, she focused her penetrating gaze on Celeste, and I could tell she liked what she saw. I was willing to bet my house that she would turn on the charm with Celeste. Celeste, right? Sydney pointed to Holly. This is my girlfriend, Holly. Holly directed her perfectly dazzling smile at Celeste. It's wonderful to meet you. I'm not sure what information you were looking for, but I'd be happy to help in any way I can. I don't think Mabel knows that much about our legal system or politics. So, anytime you want to have lunch, my treat, of course, I'll fill you in. It sounded like you aren't from the U.S., and it can be complicated to understand our system of justice. Holly placed a business card in Celeste's hand and held on just a bit longer than I thought necessary. I grinned when Celeste's response was polite but distant. Thank you, Holly. I shall consider your offer. But so far, Bella has provided me with the information I need at this time. I choose to continue my education with her. Holly narrowed her eyes. Bella? Sydney chuckled. Yeah, Celeste decided that was an appropriate name for Mabes, and I have to agree. I might start calling her that myself. If Holly's eyes had the ability to shoot daggers, I'd be dead. She turned to Celeste and smiled. Why don't you and Mabel join us for dinner tonight? Oh, now that was rich. I'd known Holly for over 10 years, and she'd never invited me to dinner before. Even Sydney seemed shocked by the invitation as she looked at her girlfriend. Oh, I am so sorry. Tonight I will be fucking Bella until she screams my name in ecstasy under this lovely moon and stars. I will lap up her sweet nectar from the pulsing plump lips surrounding her vagina, Celeste calmly remarked. Sydney burst out laughing, and I hastened to clarify. She's kidding. I remember thinking that Celeste had the driest sense of humor of anyone I'd ever met. Death Valley had nothing on Celeste. She could deliver a punchline with the straightest face I'd ever seen. Her guileless expression was unflappable. Holly just sat there with her mouth hanging open, too shocked to respond. Celeste looked at me and crinkled her nose. Bella? Did I not give an accurate enough description? I replicated the words in your book. She turned to Sydney. I do wish to try the things that I learned in the lesbian erotic book I found. Bella seems to be an eager participant in my experiment. Sydney smacked the table and smiled in my direction. I knew it! You're a big old dyke just like me. She frowned, and I imagined that she was perplexed about why I'd never told her before. She's joking, I protested weakly. I felt bad about not confiding in Sydney, and she was the last person in the world that I wanted to hurt. Sydney seemed to recover quickly and smiled at me. I thought she was trying to make me feel okay. Hey, no worries, Mabes. We won't tell anyone. Your secret is safe with us. Holly looked over at our partner. Right, Holly? Holly just sat there smirking while Sydney was waiting for her to respond. Oh, absolutely. But whenever you're ready, we'll be the first to have a big coming out party for you. I could hear the sarcasm in her voice, and fortunately, so could Sydney. Okay, that was a clip from Out of This World. And once again, my name is Annette Mori. Thanks for listening.
This was an episode of Book Clips. Check out the show notes for more on this book. And it would be great if you would rate the show and subscribe to the Lesbian Talk Show podcast channel for more woman-centered content. If you are an author of lesbian fiction, then send us your reading. You can find out how on thelesbiantalkshow.com/reading.